Story 1. Emile went through our things in the name of helping while we were gone. Okay, crew, give me some thoughts here. My Emile is a very big, rigid personality who lives a couple of states away. She has good intentions but is also overpowering, critical, and meddles in other people's lives. It's a lot for me to take as I had a very absent mother, so my mother and ML are at opposite ends of the mothering spectrum. We see her a few times a year, and she recently came to stay at our house to look after our kids, 12 and 8, for 9 days while we went out of state. I'm so grateful that she did this for us, because we don't live close to family at all, and otherwise my spouse and I wouldn't have been able to go on vacation. And when she comes to our home, she totally takes over. Sets up shop in the kitchen, assumes like the house is hers. Current situation. When we got back from vacation, she told me that she had cleaned out all of our kitchen and bathroom cupboards because they needed it so badly. They were fine. We're not slobs or neat freaks, just average mess levels with 2 kids, since we are listing our house for sale soon. She rearranged things to where she thought it would make more sense for them to be. She made piles of things that she thinks we should go through, water bottles, vitamins, etc. She didn't like how my battery bin was organized. They always fall out of the package. So I have a Tupperware container that I use for all new batteries. So she went out and bought a battery tester to make sure they were actually all new. This kind of thing feels crazy to me. She of course didn't ask and only tells us once we get home. If she had asked, I would have said no. I would have asked her to do something else if she wanted to be helpful, clean windows or baseboards or something that isn't all up in my biz, but I wasn't given the chance. She also said she did it because she was bored when the kids were at school. But she didn't do it when the kids were at school. She did it on the last 2 days of our vacation when our kids were on spring break. It makes me feel really gross. It feels presumptive and entitled and overbearing, and it's an invasion of privacy, not that we have anything to hide. On her end, she says she's trying to be helpful because she knows we want to move soon and assumes people will look through our cupboards during showings. To me, none of that is the point. My husband likes to laugh it off and say, well, at least we don't have to do it now, or, you know, mom, and all that crap. I ask him how he would feel if my dad came over and reorganized the garage without him asking. He sort of sees my point, but not really, because my dad would never do that. I also feel like because she did us this big favor, we have to put up with this controlling and intrusive behavior, and that also feels awful. Give me your thoughts. I know my feelings are valid and no feelings are wrong, but is there another perspective I should consider? Comment 1. Is this your first? Spoiler alert, many, but not all, inductions with your first pregnancy can take 24 to 48 hours. I got induced Thursday afternoon with my first and ended up giving birth Saturday at 6 p.m. My second was born an hour before midnight the day I was induced. Doc even said it would be quicker the second time, and she wasn't lying. Comment 2. Honestly, I'd change the date. Even the next day would be better. Comment 3. My MIL only watches low 1-2x per week for about 3 to 4 hours each time. When low got sick, MIL got sick. She says, my blood is so close to her she got me sick so easy. Like, lady, this is not your baby. You didn't give birth to this kid. I've never heard anything more desperate than that. These MILs know no shame. Comment 4. Just stay no contact as per your previous post, and you won't have to hear anything. Comment 5. If it were me, this would be the last time she ever house sits. Ever. Comment 6. I'm petty as hell. I'd offer my dad $50 to come over and do exactly that. Comment 7. Tell him, you would be furious if my father went through and rearranged your stuff in the garage. You only sort of see my point, because you know my father would never do something so intrusive and controlling. Why should I accept that behavior from your mother? Why would you want me to? Comment 8. It wasn't a favor since you did not ask for it. It's intrusive and imposing. She sounds like the kind of person who will correct the way PPL do things which are completely functional, just different from her, but because they do it differently, it's wrong. I can guarantee she would not appreciate this being done to her. Story 2. Emile constantly needling me about feeding LO. How to respond. Throwaway because DH is on Reddit. So, my MIL is your classic just no. Passive-aggressive, petty, insecure, emotionally needy, you name it. She treated me terribly during my pregnancy, monopolizes my LO, and all the usual stuff. Overall, I'm just exhausted by her, but there's one thing she's been doing recently that's really getting under my skin, and I'd love some advice on how to handle it. From the beginning, I told MIL that I wasn't planning on giving LO much sugar, processed food, or anything salty until they turn one. Since then, she's been acting like she's going to feed LO inappropriate foods, but in this passive-aggressive, joking way. For example, when LO was only 2 months old, she said, "LO, want a piece of sausage?" I tried to ignore it, but now it's gotten worse. She's been saying things like, "Just you wait, LO, 10 more months and we're going out for pizza and burgers and leaving mommy at home." She said that twice in less than a week. Both times, DH and I just firmly said no, but she just laughs it off or repeats herself. It's infuriating, but I know that's exactly what she wants. I don't want to give her an inch, but I also don't want to let her occupy any of my mental space with this nonsense, though I'm not going to lie, it's starting to get to me. Edit. I was actually writing this post while she was sitting in my living room, making plans for lunch with DH, LO, me, and FL. Not my best moment, but I followed DH into the shower after they went down to the car and absolutely lost it. Told him to handle this nonsense ASAP. Then, I walked out of the bathroom, and there they were, MIL and FL, because the door wasn't locked, and they decided to come back up and wait for us in the living room. I have no idea if they heard me, but I feel like trash now. Ugh, I need support. Comment 1. LO, isn't Granny funny that she thinks we're going to leave you alone with someone who doesn't respect mommy and daddy's rules? Rinse and repeat. Comment 2. And if Grandma keeps this joke up, you'll be graduating high school before she sees you again. My mill pulled this shit constantly. Timeouts worked every time, until the next bloody thing OFC. Comment 3. You're trying to provoke me. You have succeeded. This visit is over. You won't see LO4. After that, we'll see if you can refrain from trying to use my child to manipulate me. Story 3. MIL wants us to take son to Vegas for family trip. I won't be able to go into every single thing my MIL has done, because there's a lot, but this is the one that's been the biggest ongoing issue. For context, my fiancé and I are living with her right now. I'm a stay-at-home mom and also in college, and we're waiting to see where my fiancé's job is going to place him. We might have to relocate. So, MIL has been pushing for us to go on a family vacation to Las Vegas. When I explained why I didn't think it was a good idea, she basically dismissed me, called me stupid, and insisted that Vegas is one of the most family-friendly vacation spots in the country. She went on about how gorgeous it is and mentioned something about Paw Patrol being everywhere. Anyway, come Christmas, her gift to my fiancé and me was tickets to Vegas. The trip is in May, and since then, I've repeatedly asked my fiancé to tell her that I don't think it's a good idea for me and LO to go. I don't feel comfortable with it for several reasons. But he keeps saying things like, "That won't end well, she'll be unhinged, and we just have to go and deal with it." My dad even offered to pay for my ticket if MIL can't get a refund. LO is free, but it doesn't feel like that will make much of a difference. The closer the trip gets, the more anxious I feel. For context, I'm autistic and struggle with severe anxiety. I manage okay, but I rely heavily on routine and predictability, and any disruption to that can make things really hard for me. I get sensory overload just walking into places like Walmart, so I know a trip to Vegas is going to be a nightmare. Plus, my son can barely handle a 55-minute flight, and the Vegas trip is 2 flights totaling over 5 hours. At first, I thought we could just go and try to make the best of it, but ML's behavior makes that really hard. She's a my way or the highway type, and if anything doesn't go her way, she makes everyone's life miserable. She ignores me when I say things to her, makes fun of my likes, calling food I enjoy weird or disgusting, and cuts me off mid-conversation or makes faces at me when I speak. She also constantly gives me a hard time for being a Som, even though my son is still under 2. When I've told her it's because daycare is so expensive, she's told me she worked 2 jobs just to afford daycare, as if that's supposed to change my situation. I really don't want to deal with all of this on a vacation, especially in a new, loud, hot place I've never been before. Update. So, my fiancé finally told her that we're not going. If she can't find anyone else to go with her, we'll reimburse her for the tickets. She left him on read a few hours ago, so now we're just waiting to see what her response is. Comment 1. Tell your husband it won't end well for you too if he keeps putting her first. He needs to grow TF up. He's a father and husband, not a baby boy. Comment 2. Your husband needs to decide if he wants to be married to you or his mom. Comment 3. Don't go. While everyone else is gone, use the opportunity to pack up and move to your dad's. Your ML doesn't care about you, and your partner would rather hurt you than his mommy. This isn't good for anyone involved. Accept your partner since his mommy hating you lets him get by without her wrath. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.